Hey guys, you are on the Alice Reddit Stories channel. Enjoy watching. So I was working for about 7 hours yesterday. I'm 16, and I had a really tough day. I work at a grocery store, and I was the only CC, my position, for about 3 hours. On a Saturday afternoon. For perspective, we need at least 3 CCs to keep up with all the work that needs to be done on Saturday afternoons. And I was the only one. So the work of 3 people fell to me. That's all the bagging, all the getting carts, the cleaning, everything. It was all on me. And it's the day before Valentine's, so we were even busier than usual. Oh, and it never got above 5 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind chill kept us negative all day. All in all, I ended up spending over 2 hours outside, pushing carts like there was no tomorrow. The time I spent inside was mostly bagging for 2 or 3 people at once, so as you can imagine, I was exhausted when I got home. I laid down in front of the fireplace and didn't move for about 10 minutes. My mom gets down beside me and tries to get me to stand up. She tells me that I'm scaring my grandma, who was staying the night at our place. My dad walks over, pissed as all hell, and practically screams at me to get up. I tell him, truthfully, that I physically can't move. He doesn't care. So I pull myself up, trying desperately not to pass out, and try to go upstairs to take a shower. Only after all of this do they bother to ask me what's wrong. I tell them, I feel like I broke my back. My mom tells me that if this is what I'm going to act like when I get home from work, that I need to quit. I tell her that this is pretty unusual, even for a Saturday before a holiday. For those of you wondering, there were multiple CCs scheduled for that afternoon. But the one that would have been working with me when I was alone got snowed in at a ski resort with no cell service, so she couldn't make it in. She couldn't even call anyone, so she got marked as a no-call, no-show. That pissed me off, because she texted me via Wi-Fi, and I passed all that information on to the manager. So now I'm sore as hell, and I'm pissed at that manager. Lucky me. Edit. For those of you saying that I'm working too hard, you're right. But I'm doing the work because they need me to. It's called a work ethic. I'm not doing it because I'm getting paid through the roof. I'm doing it because I care. Working hard enough to be in this much pain shouldn't be cause for insult. Edit 2. Guys, a ton of people are thinking that I'm complaining about the work. I get that it was too much for me to handle, and I get that the manager was being a dick for not giving me at least a little help. But I'm not complaining about it. It's work. Sometimes there's tough days, and sometimes there's easy ones. Also, this absolutely blew up, so there's no way I can respond to everybody, but thank you all for the support. I really appreciate it. And by the way, my back is fine. It just needed a few days of nothing to recover. Some of you may remember my post about coming home from work really sore and being told that I wasn't allowed to be in pain because my grandma was scared. Well, it happened again. This time, I whacked my head on something in the car and almost passed out. Rather than asking me if I was okay, my parents told me that I was fine, even though I couldn't move my head or neck. They said that, since I was making my grandma nervous, I wasn't allowed to be in pain. Never mind that I couldn't walk and I could barely move, they forced me to walk into a restaurant, and when I didn't move once I sat down, they asked me, condescendingly, if I needed to go to the doctor. I said I didn't know, so they ignored me. I'm still in a lot of pain, 4 hours later, so maybe I will see a doctor. Not that they'll take me, but I might ask. Update, I'm feeling a hell of a lot better. The dizziness isn't as bad, and I have full range of movement back. I should probably still see a doctor, just to be safe. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'm seeing some people say that this is a type of abuse and that I should call CPS. I'm not sure if I should do that or not, but I'll talk to a school counselor and see what they think. Just so you guys know, I have recovered from that head injury my parents refused to acknowledge. I know y'all were super concerned about me, and rightfully so. But I'm okay. I haven't had any pain or restriction of movement for several days now. Also, I think I forgot to mention in my last post that I quit the job that was overworking me. I was done pretending that I wasn't going to break my back doing that work. Anyways, last Wednesday, I was getting in the car when the wind closed the door before I had pulled my leg in. I'm not sure what exactly is wrong, but my knee is still killing me. And it's not just my knee. The pain keeps moving up and down my leg, from my ankle up to the middle of my thigh. I've been on crutches since the day after it happened, but my parents keep telling me that there's no way I'm actually in pain. We took a 15-hour road trip 2 days ago, and I couldn't find a comfortable spot to be in the entire time. Before the trip, we stopped at my grandma's house, since it's on the way, and she took one look at me and proceeded to ask what was wrong with me this time. She was convinced that I was actually hurting once I showed that I was in pain, but my parents are still unwavering. Once we got to where we were going, they asked me if I could go without the crutches. I said no, and they got mad. We're visiting my grandpa, and my dad told me that my grandpa thinks that we should go to the emergency room because every time someone touches my leg or I move it, I groan in pain. My dad told me to stop doing that so that my grandpa would think that I'm fine. I legitimately don't know what to do. I have a big parade in 11 days and I have to be walking by then, but there's no way my parents will take me to a doctor to get it checked out. I feel like calling an ambulance is an overreaction, but at the same time, I don't know what else to do. Update, I just fell on the stairs and landed on my bad knee. My dad might actually take me to get it checked out now. What the hell do I tell the doctor? Yes, this story has a part 4. It happened a few months ago, in June, and to preface this story, I am fine. I'm not badly injured and I haven't had any pain from this particular thing in almost 2 months. Also, I am finally in college and out of my parents' house, and am working towards cutting off all contact with them. Anyways, the injury. I was in my parents' room and I crouched down to grab something off the floor when my knee popped. Loudly. I collapsed from the pain and I stayed on the ground for about 2 hours, because I could not move my leg. My parents continued to go on with their night the entire time. Eventually, they brought my brother in to carry me to my room so that I could go to bed. When he picked me up, my knee straightened out and it felt like my leg was coming apart. Imagine someone tore up all the muscles and ligaments in your knee so that your calf was only attached to your thigh by the skin. That's what it felt like. So, naturally, I screamed in pain. The scream was so agonizing and blood-curdling that my mother, who'd been completely emotionless up to that point, burst into tears. So did my sister, but at least she was concerned about me before that. Anyways, we get to my room and I go to bed after taking a large amount of Advil. The next day, my knee starts feeling a fair bit better, and I had plans to watch Top Gun: Maverick with a friend, and since that didn't involve walking, my parents let me go. When I was walking out, my knee popped again and the pain almost completely went away. I was scheduled to start work at Amazon 2 days later, and since the pain was still gone, I went. The first 2 days were fine. But the third day, my knee gave out and the pain came back with a vengeance. I could barely walk on my own. And wouldn't you know it, but they hid my injury from my grandma. Again. In fact, they hid it from my entire extended family and forced me not to talk about it and even pretend like I was fine. Why did I do that? Because even at 18, they still had power over me. After all, I didn't pay for the roof over my head. Fortunately, Amazon made me get an MRI before I came back to work, and it came back clear. I was gonna go to physical therapy, but there wasn't anyone who had an appointment before I went to college, so I just went back to work. It got better eventually, and I'm now thriving in college. Unfortunately, I will have to see my parents today, as my great-uncle passed away and they'll be at his funeral. And I'll see them again when I fly back home for an orthodontist appointment, but after that, I should be fine to cut them off. Thank you all for your support through this years-long saga. I know I haven't responded to everyone who's commented on one of these posts, but I did read them all. Your encouragement and advice has helped me more than you can ever know, and I can confidently say I wouldn't be where I am without you guys. Here's to a new, abuse-free chapter of my life. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like it, there are many more interesting stories ahead of us.